All right. So welcome along to our first interview in a series of interviews that we're going to be doing with the European Coalition for Community Living. My name is Nick Crosby and I'm going to be speaking to Cerasela Predescu from ProAct Support in Romania. Cerasela is going to be telling us a little bit about what ProAct do. These webinars are a chance for you to hear from people who are doing work with people all over Europe promoting independent living. We're going to be sharing these webinars every month on our YouTube channel or Enil's YouTube channel. And this is part of a monthly series that's going to go on for the next year. So we really hope that you find these interviews useful and look forward to being in contact with you in the coming year. So today we're going to hear from Cerasela, who works and leads the ProAct support organization in Romania. The website is there on the slide, and now I'm going to pass the screen over to Cerasela so that she can tell you a little bit more.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you for inviting me to this webinar. I will let you know some words about ProAct Support, what it is ProAct Support. ProAct Support is an organization established in 2011, and actually it opened the first community-based services in 2012. I have to mention from the beginning that if for the other categories as children or families or other kind of people who need support, the services are available for people with intellectual disabilities, which is our target group. We don't have any other kind of services except staying in residential care institution. We have quite a big system in terms of legislation, secondary legislation, procedures, methodological guidelines. But it's pity all these pieces are very much suffering of a lack of vision with regard of what kind of support people with disabilities need. So as a response, the state established around 360 big institutions where over 100 people are living together.
Welcome along to our first interview in a series of interviews by the European Coalition for Community Living. Today we're going to be hearing from ProAct Support in Romania. This is the first chance that we've had, or the first webinar that we're doing in a series over the next 12 months. It's going to be an opportunity for you to hear from people right across Europe and probably elsewhere about the work they're doing promoting independent living for all. These interviews will be posted on Enil's YouTube channel and available for everybody to see. So today we're going to be hearing from Cerasela Predescu, the Managing Director at ProAct Support in Romania. Their website is on the slide here, and now I'm going to share and hand over the screen to Cerasela so that she can tell you some more about the work they do.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you very much. I hope it's okay. It's okay now?
Yep.
Okay. So thank you very much for inviting me for this webinar. I will start with a short story coming from my experience. Before 2011, I was deeply involved in child protection system. I was working as a consultant, and I was part of the child protection system. And I noticed that if in this area we created lots of services, we contributed to a massive deinstitutionalization, the situation for people with intellectual disabilities stuck in institution was for these people, nothing was in place except institution. So as a matter of fact, in 2011, I established ProAct Support with the main vision and mandate to help to deinstitutionalized people with intellectual disabilities from institution while create the community-based services. This was my goal, this was my mission, and still it is. That's why ProAct remain the only organization working only in this area, promoting community-based services for people with psychosocial and mental disabilities. I have to say that in Romania we have quite a good system written on the paper. I mean, we have a national strategy talking about the rights of people with disabilities. We have a plan of closure institution. We have a plan of accessibility. We have legislation. We signed the convention regarding the rights of people with disabilities. We develop standards, also cost standards, methodological guidelines, specific procedures, and so on. The problem is that all these strategic documents are lack of vision. They are very much see the person with disabilities like somebody who is sick and needs to be put in institution. That's why in 2019 we still have around 400 institutions, large institutions with more than 150 people in it. We have over 18,000 people stuck in the institution, and we don't have any community services for people with psychosocial and mental disabilities. So what is ProAct doing is actually the essence of the activity is taking out these people from institutions and helping them to start a new life in community like I do or like the other people around me are doing. I have to say that it's very simple to move people from one place to another place, but it's not at all about this. It's more than that. First of all, we visited people in institution. We talk about the kind of services we are offering. We inviting people to visit our services, to meet with other people who are already living in the community. And then we invited to stay over the night, maybe to spend the weekend, or maybe to attend somebody birthday in the community home. It's a kind of getting familiar with what we are doing. And if at the beginning was quite complicated when we really started and we didn't have any people in our services, it was difficult to explain what it is about. But during the time become more and more simple because people from institution had the opportunity to talk directly with other colleagues who used to stay in institution and now experience a life in the community. So this process will take about, I would say, 3 or 4 months, getting to know people, inviting to see the services which are located in rural area or in urban area, to meet with other people, to spend time, to know some of the staff, and to take a kind of informed decision. This is the first step, and then we move people depending on on the supports needed in services with full support, like 24/7 days, or in services with partial support. And after a while, if people, do not need their support in the house, they could live alone. That's why we have different dimension in our services. We have services with one client inside, and the maximum number of people in a house is about 7 people. At this moment, we have 10 services which are licensed by the Romanian Ministry of Labor. And we have 45 people living in these services. It is very difficult to set up services with the vision of giving people control of their life, giving people a chance to make options, to make decisions, giving people the rights to be wrong and to mistake, because it's part of the learning process. It's difficult because we are in the position, we are like in a ballet, on one hand, we have to follow the standards and to follow the rules in order to get our license and to be able to provide such services. And that means to respect stupid rules. And when I say stupid rules, I'm thinking of the staff to have like a uniform, or to record the visits in a special book, like a visit, and to mention the visit hours. For example, the visiting hours, it's only Sunday between 5 to 7 p.m. Or other kind of stupid rule is to hanging on the wall the menu of the people, or the number of the calories the food contain, and many other rules which transform a home into an institution. Of course, we broke these rules. We do not respect, but on the other hand, we have to follow some other rules in order to be licensed and in order to be able to take people out from the state institution. That's why I like to say that we are in a continual ballet, respecting the standards, but on the other hand, breaking the rules and trying to make these services like people home, like ordinary homes in the community. Of course, we are very much concerned how to do this, and how we provide services in a very discreet manner. For example, when we opened the first service in a community, in a rural community, the neighbors get together and they complain to the mayor of the community that insane and danger people will come in their community, and they are not agreeing with this. So they made big noise about this fact. But instead to argue with them, I said, okay, they will get to know the clients, the people who will be living in this house, and they will realize that the people living in this house are good people, and these people are their neighbors. So instead to escalate this conflict, instead to open the service like cutting the ribbon, inviting the local television or the local authorities, I prefer to move people in a house like I used to move myself in my house, and I let people to meet their neighbors and to get each other together in a very natural way. And this was much better, because I consider what it is natural, it's more normal, and people will take like this. And of course, it's happened like this. People started to know Tudor, started to know Jetta, started to know Simona. They started to talk each other. When one of our old neighbor gets sick, guess what? One of the clients, Simona, helped her. She bought the medicine for that old lady. They helped that old lady when it was snowing, helping cleaning the path in front of her house, and people started to know the clients as human beings, not as people, as disabled people, as people who are vulnerable, which was a very good starting point, because they are perceived as neighbors, as a local citizen, as people you can trust, you can socialize, maybe you can have a coffee in the community. And this is a very, very important aspect of ProAct work. We didn't want to put people in vulnerable situation or in negative roles. We wanted people to play positive roles, like a buyer in the community, like using the local transportation, not special vehicles, because they don't need it, or going to the hairdresser in the community, or accessing the bank services in the community. So it's extremely important for these people to be perceived as good neighbors, not as vulnerable people or disabled people or clients of any kind of service. Yes, they need support, but who doesn't need support? I need support when I go to the dentist. I need support when I go for a medical check. It's exactly the same situation. These people are human beings, they are talented, they have lots of potential, and they always give something to the community they are living in. Because our model is very much based on normalization, and the financial mechanism is that our services are contracted by the local authorities based on a per capita cost. We have like 70% covered through these public acquisition contracts, while the other 30% we have to be creative and apply for grants. We even develop a farm in a countryside where people are employed. We have like 100 turkeys, we have pigs, we have chickens, we have animals. And this because we have 2 greenhouses in our around our houses, and we somehow cover parts of the cost with the food because it is coming from our garden. We have fresh vegetables, we have meat from our farms, and the other parts of this, the products we are selling just to have more money. So it's a kind of, it is not yet sustainable, but we are reaching the sustainability of our services. Also, even if the standards impose us to have specialists allocated to each service, we've been creative and we have like a mobile team deserving and serving the clients all over the places. So we have people going, we have a psychologist going in one service or another service, or asking people to meet in a park or having a coffee together, not necessarily in people home. We try very much to be creative, because otherwise we do not have any chance to develop community-based services with the amount of money the local authority is going to provide us. So we are very much questioning what we are doing and stay, like every 2 or 3 months and see, is it good, it's not good, what can we do more effective, how can we improve our activity, what we need more, what we need else. We are all the time, we are not in peace and quiet. We are all the time concerned, how can we improve our services? How can we give more support to the people? How can we help them more? How can we, spend less money? We are concerned of these issues. And of course, we made mistakes. Who didn't make any mistakes? But it's important that we learn from our mistakes. For us, it's very important. We strongly believe in people, in potential of each people who is in our service. Even when we take people from the institution, and the staff from the institution told us, you don't have anything to do with this guy or with this lady. He's a lost cause. He doesn't speak. He doesn't know to write, to read. He's just, lethargic and sleeping all day. Of course, he was sleeping all day because he was sedate. And when he came in our services, we first of all checked the medication, and then let people to be more aware, and then we started to talk, and then we find out what he really likes to do, and then we give opportunity to explore, because how can a person choose between something, between A and B, if never try A and B? We have to give opportunities and real context of life to these people, to taste the life, to understand what it is, and then to make a decision. And even if the decision is bad, it's okay. It's the people right to be wrong. And I think for the adults, this is the greatest experience, to learn from the mistake. And we are somehow behind, giving the right support in a very discreet manner. It's not about specialists, it's not about social workers, it's not about psychologists, it's about the clients, the people, first of all. And we are somewhere behind, in a shadow, and letting people to bloom, letting people to decide what they want and to have their own decision. Even if I consider some of the decisions are wrong, but it's not my decision, it's not about me. It is about these people who came and experienced, community living, who have the right to build their life the way they wanted to have their life. Another issue very important, and I always say this, I think even if people, when we take people from the institution, they have a dark behind them. They don't know anything about their past, why they are in institution, and some of them believe they are in institution because they were enough beauty, or because they were bad people. That's why parents put them when they were a child in institution. And it's nothing clear in relation with the family. So the family, it's very important. It's important because they have to clarify their past, to understand the past, and to live in the present, and to build the future. As long as they are looking back in a dark past, because they don't understand what really happened, where is their family, why they were placed in institution, why the mom and dad are visiting once per year, or maybe stopped visiting 5 years ago. They have to understand what's the situation with the family. And in some cases it was a great success. We reconnected family after 24 years. In some cases wasn't so good. The family still blamed the person. The family rejected people. But it's okay. It's okay to understand why is the situation like this, and to give and to receive the right support to go further. because otherwise they will not be able to have a relationship in their future. And this is an aspect which I would like to underline, because in our system, in state institution, there is a big concern for people to have something to eat. There is a big concern to provide 3 meals per day and another 2 snacks. And only this, but nothing about the valuable roles, nothing about the social utility, nothing about relationship. This is a taboo. People have been abused, sexually abused. They've been traumatized. They are not able to have a normal relationship. Some of them, because the boy, they have been abused by the staff institution, they develop a kind of how to say, homosexual relationship, but they are becoming like being aggressive with other people who are weak than they are. So all these things need to be discussed, they need to be cured, and they need to be clarified what kind of relation they wanted to have. They have to discuss about this, and nobody wanted to talk such a very sensitive issue. It is an extremely difficult work, but people are eager to be listened, to tell their story. They wanted to build their life. They wanted to experience. They wanted to have relationships. They wanted to know people, not only people with disabled intellectual disability or other kind of problems. They wanted to break the circle, to meet other people, to join the, gardening club, or football club, or go in a swimming pool and swimming with other people. They wanted to have access to the real world, and this is what we try to do. I think it's important to say that we are among very few NGOs delivering services for people with psychosocial and intellectual disabilities. And we try to set up a model, and we hope that other NGOs to join us and to help more people to get out of the institution. So we are equally interested to impact at the policy level. That's why we are part of the working group at the Ministry of Labor level. Also, we've been part we contributed to the elaboration of the national strategy in the disability field. We are a constant partner of the dialogue to the National Authority for the Disabled People. We are part of the task force on elaborating standards to regulate the quality in services for people with psychosocial and intellectual disabilities. Because if we do not involve the policy makers, I'm afraid we will be, a nice NGO taking care of people with intellectual disabilities, creating community-based services, but just this. So we wanted to impact at the national level in a way to create context, resources, and political will, which will make available the support for other people who wanted to develop such services. So we are with one leg in, I'd like to say that offering services at the grassroots level, but with the other leg trying to impact to the public policy level, to change the regulation, to change the legislation, which is very much focused on institution and residential care. I have to say that after 7 years, I started ProAct support and the community-based services. We have 17 people who are out of the system. I mean, when I say out of the system, I'm saying that they are not anymore dependent on our services. They get married, they are living in their rented apartments, they are working, they have a circle of support, they have friends, wife. um, they are living a normal life, and they are respected, and they are happy. And these 17 people, I think, gave and give us the power and the strength to go farther and to, not stop what we are doing. I don't know, maybe you could ask me some specific question, or what you want to know more about what we are doing. I'm afraid.
Yeah, it should be okay now. You can hear me?
Yeah,
Sorry,
it's okay.
I had the mute button on. That was brilliant. It was really, really interesting to hear how you are working in Romania, and to hear some of your thinking about the service that you provide. I think you've probably answered most of the questions that I had to start with, but I'll just go through them, because there was some key things that you were talking about that linked to these questions. So some of the things that you were talking about is helping people think about the support they need and making decisions. Is there anything specific that you've learned as a service about how to do that well, how to involve people in thinking about the support they have and in making decisions?
Yes, of course, we've done mistakes too. As I told you, there are good things, but also bad things. First of all, there is a temptation to consider that you know better what the people need, which is wrong, because my needs are not similar with the client's need. Everybody, it's about unique people with their unique needs. So first of all, for me, it is, and for my colleagues too, it is important to know the person better, because knowing the person better, we will be able to give the needed support. And people, in some cases, do not reveal so easy. They sometimes, maybe they are saying what you like to hear, not exactly what is their wish. So you have to find the real wish, the real need of the people, and that is a long process. It's not easy, and it is a process, but at the end of the day, when you know the people, you will know exactly what the people needs are, and you will be able to support people in their needs. And again, I think the best indicator is the person. The best indicator is not the specialist, because everybody is tempted to put in front the specialist. It's not about specialist. People needs real and true relationship, needs respect, and needs to feel like you are connected with them. And as long as you are connected and you are respecting the people, and you real listen the people what they really want, the people open their heart, and they will let you know, invite in their heart, and you'll find out what kind of support they need. It's a long process. It's not easy. Sometimes you succeed, sometimes it's not. That's the reality. We still have people in our services who made great progress. For example, we have a lady, Simona. she has been traumatized. She had been sexually aggressed. She was like a man, and now she transformed herself. She had such sociophobia. She was afraid to go outside to meet people, and we started, like, step by step. But guess what? She's living independent, alone in a service, because she's afraid to go out from our services, but she's living alone. She has a job, she's appreciated, but she is afraid to go into a relationship with a man because of her past. And she didn't tell us the whole story, but it's okay, because when she will be able, she will tell her story, and maybe we will be able to find out what kind of support she needs for her story. For some of the people, we were able to provide the whole support. For the other people, not, because they didn't let us to find the entire story. We are trying to do our best, but we have limits too. And as I told you, there is a big temptation to see the decision and to impose your decision. And we are struggling and try to stay one step back and let people to have their judgments, decision, even if the decision is not good. That's why we are here. And it's important because they learn from the consequences of their decision. This is the best lesson in the world, to have to make decision and to support the consequences of your decision. Otherwise, I can talk 2 days. I'm not the best teacher. The best teacher would be the experience of people.
Yeah, no, I think I totally agree. I think we've all learnt through making mistakes as much as we've made making good decisions. And you've kind of answered the second question, which is around control, which is giving people a chance to say what works for them and what doesn't. The woman that you were talking about, Simona, she's very clear about what works for her, and she's in control of the support to work for her at the moment. Things might change in the future, but that's how things work for her, and that's so you very clearly answered that question. I guess the last pieces of the last question was, and it was one that you touched on in your presentation, was how do you help people? How do you find out if support is working, and how do you change the services that you offer? Because you were talking about improving them. Have you got some examples of how you've improved services from what people have said?
Yes, I have to say some things related with this question. It's very hard when we have 7 or 8 people in a service, which we try to make the service to be their house, their place where they feel comfortable, safe, secure. It's very difficult, and we have to be extremely creative to be supportive with each individual and to have a different response for each of the 7 people, because the temptation is to put together 7 people and now we are going to the mall, or we are going in the community to the McDonald's, like an extravagance, we are promoting health living and health food, but sometimes they wanted to go to the McDonald's. This is the easiest way. So yeah, the support, it's let's say customized on their needs, and I think the people are the indicator if our support is good sound or not. Sometimes people are happy and they feel like they are good with themselves. Sometimes, even if we try to do a plan, of course, the plan means we are not doing a plan without the people. The people are the leading person in developing a plan for their life. They leaded us. They show us what they need, even if they need to fly to the moon. Okay, we will start like this, and we work on this aim, and we will take this dream and put it in the real world. But what I wanted to say is that they are leading us. We are not leading the process. They show us what they wanted to do. And I will give you an example where I think we've been wrong. We had in our services a lady, Gabriela. She was very vocal, she was very talkative, she was very emotional, and she had a bad control of her emotion. When she encountered a stress situation, she was very angry, she was quite aggressive with her colleagues, and we tried to help her in terms of feeling management, how to express herself, what to do when she's upset, when she got upset, where to go, to whom to speak, what to avoid to do. She's a great person. She's a very, how to say, she likes to work. She likes to be useful for the other people. Actually, she was great in her workplace. Her boss was very happy with her, but he was very upset when she got nervous because she didn't know how to control. And we tried somehow to put in a box Gabriela, to live a healthy life, to eat healthy food, to, we tried to transform Gabi in something which she didn't want to transform herself. She was a kind of rebel girl, and we tried to transform her to be a nice and polite and, not so noisy girl. And we were wrong, because it was her personality, and we didn't know how to deal with this. Of course, she's now independent because she works, because she met a guy, they get married, and she's now living a happy life. But guess what? She's living almost every day at McDonald's. She's drinking beer, while in our services she was not allowed to drink beer because she had a medication, and the medication interfering with the alcohol made her more aggressive. And now she's okay. She stopped to take the medicine, and she's eating at the McDonald's because she wanted to live like this. Who I am to stop her to do this? I mean, my duty or my job is to make her aware it's not good, but it's her decision what she wanted to eat and where to eat. So I learned from Gabriela's story that it's not about what we see, it's healthy, good, and it's about more what is Gabriela wish, what Gabriela wanted to eat, how is Gabriela as a personality. She will never be a quiet person because that's Gabriela. She is vocal. She is, making noise all the time. That's her. Yeah. Maybe the good plan was to stay alone in a service, but I couldn't afford at that time to take her and place in a service where to live only herself. So she was surrounded by the other 4 people, and she was all the time in conflict, and the other 4 people complain, and I all the time, interviewing. Gabriela, please calm, not, don't speak loudly, you disturb other colleagues, your music is too loudly, and so on. But, we learn from mistakes too. That's for sure.
I mean, that's brilliant. I think you've given us a really detailed and really cool insight into the work that ProAct does. I just say a really big thank you for your time, Cerasela. I will save this to YouTube, and send the link out. I'll make sure that there's contact details for Cerasela. If anybody who's watching this would like to contact you, I'm sure you'd be happy to hear from them. I think some of the things you said are so important, and I think one of them is about making mistakes is as much as getting is as important as getting it right, because that's what real life is like. I think the examples you've shared are real examples of how you've learnt when you've got it right and when you've got it wrong, and how you've changed the services. I think there are many services in England and in other places that I'm linked with that I know will be struggling with the same things that you're talking about. I also would just flag up the fact that you are being recognised by the Zero Project as for the work that you do, which will be going out in the press, I'm sure, later in the week, because there's an awards ceremony coming up, I think. But more of that to follow. So just a really big thank you, Cerasela, for your time. I'm going to click close in a minute, and I will be in touch, but thank you very much.
Thank you too, Nick. Thank you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.